What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner, or welcome if you are new. It is lovely to have you with us. Today, I thought I would talk about something that Gameloft just snuck in, just a tiny little bit, into one of their recent blog updates, and that was something they mentioned in the developer update preview that we got for Mysteries of Skull Rock, but it didn't quite get elaborated on, so I thought we would do a little bit of speculation today, and that is what the upgraded multiplayer features could be. I'm talking post office for Disney Dreamlight Valley, coming to a free update later this year. Obviously, at this point, nothing is confirmed, so I'm just going to kind of like take a little stab at it and see if we can come up with some concepts of what they actually mean. I do think we have a pretty good idea. Now, I actually did a video on a possible post office feature months ago. I think it was one of the first videos that I did, so don't go and watch it, but I will link it just in case. But at present, multiplayer is kind of like in this weird limbo state after that sort of like spate of bannings that we had. So multiplayer doesn't seem to be being used all that much outside of Dream Snaps. I don't think people are visiting each other as much. People don't want to share resources as much. But if it's true, this could change entirely how we send resources between each other and how we sort of like interact with multiplayer and probably with the player base in general. So this little paragraph at the end of the blog is what I'm talking about, and Gameloft do actually say even more content awaits. Look forward to the introduction of a new feature designed to make it easier for players to connect and share resources with one another, empowering multiplayer play. Now, I do think that Gameloft have kind of been feeling the effect of those bans. They've probably got statistics for multiplayer, what people are doing, what people are not doing. And I would say that a lot of people are not Valley visiting anymore. I know that some people still are, and I know that there are still some Treasure Valleys sort of like running. But I do think on the whole, most people are kind of like, I don't want to get banned. I'm going to stay away from that. So it makes sense that Gameloft are now trying to think, well, what can we do to encourage this feature that probably took a lot of development and a lot of time and resources, and actually get that sort of like integrated and start rebuilding that community trust, because they do make a point of saying connect and share resources. Now, I think the language is very interesting. I think that's an important point because obviously, as we know, there was a lot of sort of, I don't want to say misinformation, but it kind of like spiraled, it kind of snowballed out of control. There was a lot of sort of like discussions going on about the bans, why people were getting banned, what was triggering it. I think probably something at some point went wrong, whether it was a code update that was sort of like automatically flagging people that kind of went wrong, or whether there was somebody just on the team deciding, you know what, I'm a bit disgruntled, so I'm just going to go through this list and click ban on everyone. But whatever it was, it kind of like eroded the trust of the player base, which is a shame because multiplayer was kind of like a popular feature. People like to share resources with their friends. So I do think it's interesting that they're making a note specifically of sharing resources, which is why I do think that there's a possibility of a mail or a postage system kind of like coming in to share those resources while you're offline, which will change kind of like the fundamental core aspect of multiplayer as we know it. So obviously at the moment, multiplayer is kind of like real-time only. There's no really async method to it. You can asynchronously hook up to somebody's Daisy Boutique, I believe, so you can get their designs as they refresh if you visited their valley before, but it does require a valley visit. So I do think that if they introduce a postal system, it might come with maybe friend codes or something like that, some unique identifier for us to be able to add friends and create a friends list. That would be a really nice touch. And then it would be great to be able to send like parcels or care packages over to friends or, I don't know, the community, anybody who might need it, with kind of like resources and stuff in to get them going. I know that that is very helpful for new players, especially because new players do not have a lot of resources. It is quite grindy. Not everybody has the time. It is a grindy game by nature, but I do think that a little help in hand here and there is not going to kind of like spoil someone's experience of the game. Personally, anyway, I don't love the grind, so I would appreciate and enjoy people giving me resources the same way that I would like to help out where possible too. So as I said at the start of the video, I did actually do a video previously on the mailbox system concept. I believe it came from Reddit at the time. Somebody said that we should really have some way to send resources, and I totally agreed with it, which is why I kind of like did a little video on it. And I do believe, somebody can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, Animal Crossing has something like this. Now, I've not done that much Animal Crossing play. I only did a very small amount of time during COVID. So I do think that there is some way to have kind of like a friends list, Cat. a friends list that you can send resources to in Dreamlight Valley would be a really nice touch as well. And I do think that's probably what they're alluding to with this. Cats removed. What I would love to see is kind of like maybe a story tie-in. So I would love one of the existing villagers to get like a mailman or a mail woman update where they sort of like decide to open a new venture and they kind of want to open a postal system or something like that. I think that could be fun. I believe there is a Donald Duck mailman outfit. I don't know if it's official. I don't know if it's legit, but I do remember seeing Donald Duck somewhere in a mailman outfit. So I think it could be cute to integrate it into the story rather than just kind of like slapping it on as an extra feature, even though the extra feature would be very much appreciated. And to be fair to Gameloft, they've done a wonderful job at integrating sort of like features as story points as well. You know, Tiana's Palace came as a story point, Daisy's Boutique. So they are happy to sort of like integrate it in that way, which I think they could pull off if done well. I will say the other thing, I do actually like that Gameloft are trying to address kind of like a sticking point in the community. So obviously we touched on the bans and everything that came with that. But it is really nice that they're listening to us because they have been integrating a lot of the quality of life upgrades that we've requested, and they are now sort of like trying to rebuild trust in an area that might be lacking. So I do think that Gameloft need like a low friction and low risk way to make multiplayer feel valuable again. And this is an excellent way of doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if it came with limits. So I would expect item limits. Maybe you could only send 20 of something at a time, maybe one thing at a time. But it would be nice to put together care packages for players, for friends, and get them going with things that they need. And it would be a fabulous way for people to share stuff between families and stuff like that if you can't all get online at the same time, especially if you live in different time zones, because I know this game brings together people from all over the world. So I think having that asynchronous element is really important, but also a really nice touch. So while this isn't actually confirmed as a post office yet, I do think that is probably what they're leaning to. I hope that that's what they're leaning to. And like I said, I do hope that we get a little bit of a story tie-in. That would be really nice. I think the signs are there. I do think multiplayer needs a little bit of TLC. So this could just be what the Valley needs to kind of like kickstart that element again and get that trust back for Gameloft. I'd love to know what you want from a system like this. Do you think it could be some sort of postal system to send resources to your friends? Do you think it could be something entirely different? Whatever it is, let me know down in the comments below. Perhaps also let me know if they do introduce a postal system, when you would like it to come, how you would like it to come, and whether you would like a character or story tie-in as well. I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more Disney Dreamlight Valley news and content. We have lots coming over the next couple of weeks with the Skull Rock update. So I hope to see you there. I hope to see you in my live. And I will catch you in the next one. And I'll see you in the valley. Bye.